Linda J. to be the refreshments coordinator. We're really going to be expanding that ministry. She's also going to still be working with the ushers and greeters as the head of the ushers and greeters, but she's going to be transitioning to that, right? And we've hired Valerie to be the volunteer coordinator. So she's going to be, Valerie Cooper, she's going to be working with all the aspects of our ministry. We are so excited to have both of you on staff. I feel very blessed to have both of you on staff. You guys want to say anything? Do you want to?
Well, I just want to say that in the work that I've done throughout the years that I've been here, I've grown not only spiritually, but I have grown to love you. And so I'm just thrilled to death to be working with Val, and I'm looking forward to this brand new year with these brand new opportunities.
Amen.
And I just wanted to say that I'm super excited about moving into this position. I'm so excited about it. I look forward to working with you guys, and if you ever need anything, let me know, and I'll try to find you the perfect place to serve at Unity.
That's great. So we are blessed by both of you. Thank you. Welcome aboard. We're so glad you're staff members. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Don't you know that you are loved by so many? Yeah. Don't you know that someone cares? Lift your head up to the sky and you'll find the reasons why you were made in His own eyes, ready to change this world, one person at a time. There's a purpose on this earth for every one of us. Look deep down inside your soul and discover it. Maybe you don't know it now, it will find you somehow. Hold it closer to your heart and you'll find a way to start. Well, I know there is a purpose for you. Well, I'm sure there is a purpose for you. We are born into a world with so much pain and grief, and at times it seems there is no relief. God has chosen us to do His work through me and you. He has planned a special path. If you only knew, if you only knew. There's a purpose on this earth for every one of us. Look deep down inside your soul and discover it. Maybe you don't know it now, it will find you somehow. Hold it closer to your heart and you'll find a way to start. Well, I know there is a purpose for you. Well, I'm sure there is a purpose for you. And we can change the world woman, boy and girl. If we take back what is ours, heaven on earth is not far. You are loved by the one and only power, reigning from above. There's a purpose on this earth for every one of us. Look deep down inside your soul and discover it. Maybe you don't know it now. It will find you somehow. Hold it closer to your heart and you'll find a way to start. Well, I know there is a purpose for you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure there is a purpose for you.
I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to hear the voice of love that is being spoken in your soul. For many of us, love is our teacher. Love is our greatest teacher. And sometimes in our life, we get so busy, so focused on outer things, that we forget to listen to love. And love is always there. Love is always revealing a new path, a greater possibility. So as we close our mind and quiet our thoughts, I want you to listen to love, to hear what love is asking of you today. Like, what is love calling to your heart? How is it asking you to grow and change and evolve and heal? What does love seek from you today? And today we listen to love as our greatest teacher. As we listen to love, we know we heal from the inside out. And we know that sometimes love asks us to be more than we think is possible and forgive more than we think we could ever forgive and take steps in our life to live a bigger, bolder, more creative expression. So today, just listen to love. Let love teach you. Let love guide you. Let love reveal your path and show you the way. Let love heal your heart and prosper you beyond your wildest dreams. For love is our greatest teacher. And our path is love, pure love, God love. So in a moment of stillness now, I'm going to ask that you just listen to love. To let love reveal to you that which your soul needs the most today. That which would create the greatest blessing in your life. Today we listen to love. We listen to the soft guidance and direction that love offers us. That we are allowing our life to be led by love. That we are willing to trust love in greater ways than we ever have before. We are willing to dedicate everything that we are, everything that we hope to be, our future, our past, all to love. That love can not only heal us, it can heal us all. Whatever the need, whatever the situation, love is our only power. In the name and through the power of the living Christ, we say thank you, God. And so it is.
Darling, if your sunshine goes away and you find yourself all alone on a cold and rainy day, just feel that old familiar part, that feeling deep inside your heart. It's been there from the very start, and you know, choose love, love, it's the only thing I'm dreaming of. Choose love, love, it's heaven sent from up above. Choose love, love, a feeling like no other one, and love will set you free. It's the one thing that belongs to you and me. It belongs to you and me. Wipe that tear from your cheek. Listen to your heart speak and tell you all the things you need to hear. It'll guide you through the roughest times, nurture you and get you by when you feel like there's nothing left to do. There's one thing that I know will get you through. Choose love, love, it's the only thing I'm dreaming of. Choose love, love, it's heaven sent from up above. Choose love, love, a feeling like no other one, and love will set you free. It's the one thing that belongs to you and me. Let your soul shine bright, shine it through the darkest night. Let it be your guiding light. Hold on to your dreams tonight. Yeah. Choose love, love, it's the only thing I'm dreaming of. Choose love, love, it's heaven sent from up above. Choose love, love, a feeling like no other one, and love will set you free. It's the one thing that belongs to you and me. It belongs to you and me. It belongs to you and me. It belongs to you and me. Thank you so much.
It's fabulous. All right, so you ready for today? So my question for you today is, what is love asking of you? Now, sometimes when we even ask that question, right, what is love asking of us? Because it is a free gift, right? Love is a free gift from God. But it doesn't mean that love doesn't ask things of us. And usually love asks us to do more than we think is possible. Like to love in bigger ways, to be more than we think we can be. Love asks us to expand into greater and greater versions of ourselves. But I would really love for you to be in that question this week. What is love asking of me? Because your mind is going to want to answer that. Right? Your mind's going to want to tell you how to do it, and I want you to go deeper than that. I want you to actually listen to your heart and ask yourself the question, what is love asking of me now? Because we're in this time of deep, powerful transformation, right? We're going from an intellectual-based reality to a heart-based reality. So what's happening is that we're shifting from having our head as the dominant focus of our life to having our heart be the dominant focus of your life. So the way that we do that is that we actually have to be in a heart-centered conversation with ourselves to really listen to what divine love is asking of us, because God is love, but it only becomes real when it lives in and through each one of us, right? And what's interesting for me is the time that we find ourselves. You know, we've dedicated 2022 to our year of love. And the idea in this year is that we're all going to practice expanding into more love than we've ever held or lived in before, right? And when we look at the numbers, 2022, it's 3 twos. Twos represent love and relationship, right? And so this is one of those rare years where we get 3 twos lined up. And we also know that we're in a 2 millennium. This is the 2000s, right? And in the 1000s, and this is, for some of you, this is me just being way too weird. So just take a breath and I'll just take a little nap and I'll be back with you in a second, okay? In the 1 millennium, it was all about the individual, right? It was all about one. It was the focus. It was about people discovering themselves, discovering their power, discovering who they are. And in the 1 millennium, the dominant form of government and structure was one person in charge, right? At the end of that 1 millennium, we began to experience we the people. We were moving from a me creation to a we creation. In the 2000, in this millennium, it's all about we. It's all about relationship. It's all about, and how do we do moving from me to we in the most creative way that we have not yet even conceived of all the ways that we could be in love, in service, in creation with each other. You know, and when we look at our nation, when we look at this ministry, the things that are the most important to me were all created in a we. Like this country, this ministry, it wasn't one person. It was a we that created this. We did this together. We continue to do this together. It's always been a we. In our country, it's a we, that it's not about a me structure. It's about a we structure. And in a we structure, we are all working together to build the best for all of us, right? And so over and over again, as we move into this year and as we move into this millennium, if you will, I believe that we're all going to be asked over and over again, what is love asking from us in this moment? And to stay current in that, stay current in the dialogue with our heart, because our heart has a way of revealing things that our intellect does not. Like we're used to listening to our intellect, listening to our ideas, listening to our mind and all that it wants to reveal to us. Well, love also wants to reveal to us, right? Love is also our teacher and our guide, but we have to be willing to listen to that. And in 1 John 14:18, we read this: there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and he who fears has not yet been perfected in love. Right? So that's really our goal. That's our desire, is to be perfected in love. And as we heal, as we are restored into the original image that God had for us, we are absolutely perfected in love. But we have to listen to love. And every place where we're choosing fear, where we're worried, where we're concerned, when we're kind of going in a dark or scary way, we have to let love guide us back to the path of love. We have to allow divine love to lead us to a wholesome, a goodness, a beauty, a power that our intellect cannot hold, but our heart knows exactly the way. And when we trust our heart, sometimes it's scary because our intellect wants us to be safe. Our ego wants us to be in control. And our heart believes that there's a power greater than our intellect that can actually manifest a higher level of good in our lives and collectively in the world. And that we are in the process now of being perfected in that. So as we dedicated this year to love, last week I gave you 5 homework assignments. And I know it was a lot, so just breathe, right? And even if we don't do every one every week, I just want to repeat them just so that they get so ingrained that you hear my voice in your sleep reminding you of these 5 things. And I want to be your favorite little earworm that like says, okay, am I doing it, right? So those 5 homework assignments for last week and throughout this year would be, number 1, and we did a pinky swear on this one. Number 1 is don't add conflict. Right? Just don't add conflict. That if you have a choice between conflict and not conflict, don't add conflict. You don't always have to put your 2 cents into every conversation. Sometimes it really is none of your business, right? And as much as your ego wants to be the center of the universe, it's just not, right? So if you can avoid conflict, avoid it. Now, I'm not talking about running from it, but just your heart knows when it's yours and when your ego just wants to poke somebody. And the reality is, sometimes we just love to poke people, even though it's none of our business. They have a God-given right to be as miserable as they want to be. Can I get an amen? They do. They do. All right, so first one was don't add conflict. Second one is whenever you have the choice, open your heart. Just open your heart. Open your heart to the moment. Open your heart to the possibility. Open your heart to others. Open your heart to God. Open your heart to yourself. Open your heart. Whenever you have a moment, open your heart. And 3, I invited everybody to have a person of love this year. And our person of love is one of the people in our life that's not always easy for us to love. Like our person of love may be your spouse, one of your children, your neighbor, a coworker, a boss. Like we all have this person that we just want to growl at, right? And instead of growling at them, well, darling, you just start with 1, all right? Right? Our person of love is the person that this year we make a commitment to love in a bigger way. Knowing as we love them in a bigger way, we are transformed by this experience. As we learn to trust love, even in the presence of this person, everything begins to get bigger. 3, that was our person of love. 4, that over and over again, we're going to invite you to add more love in the world, right? No matter what the situation is, right? So this week, my wife loves Cold Stone ice cream, right? She loves it, loves it, loves it, loves it. When I need a little greasing of the relationship, I come home with Cold Stone ice cream. It's amazing what that little cup of goodness can get for me, right? It is fabulous, right? So this week, I needed a little help. So I brought home Cold Stone ice cream, right? I went and got it, brought it home, and the woman, the girl behind the counter, the person behind the counter, said just when it came time to pay, she said, just skip and hit the green button. And what she was saying was skip the tip, right? I said, don't tell me to skip the tip. Like, you've done really good for me. I appreciate what you're doing. Tell me to tip you big. And she just started getting all discombobulated, right? Because I can't ask people to tip. I said, you're not asking me to tip. I want to tip you. Just don't discourage me from tipping. And she goes, when it comes to tipping, I get so uncomfortable. I said, well, that's your growing edge, right? So at that moment, I wanted to be a positive presence in her life. And when I left, she was grinning from ear to ear that somebody cared enough to tip her and to tip her well. So she was happy, my wife was happy, I was happy. It was a win, win, win for the universe, right? So what I want you to see is that in every moment, we get to decide, do you want to add more love into this situation, or do you want to be cranky? Right? Do you want to add more love into this moment, into this situation, into this condition, or not? It's always our choice. But we get to add more love. And 5 that we worked on last week was, as we're bringing more love into the world, we also have to be bringing more love to within ourselves. That as we practice loving the world in a greater way, we have to practice loving ourselves in a greater way. And this year, this triple 2 year, is an opportunity for us to heal our deepest wound. Right? In this triple 2 year, This is a year for us to make an individual and collective commitment to heal the deepest wounds of our soul and the deepest wounds of our society. As we heal those deeper wounds through the power of love, everything is made new. All right, so what did Jesus teach? If you had to boil down Jesus' teaching to 2 or 3 ideas, what is it that you think he taught? When I look at Jesus' teachings, I see 3 things over and over and over again that were really the focus of what he taught. The first thing he taught was love. Over and over again, he invited people to love in a way that was greater than they wanted to, a way that was bigger. He invited us to be more generous. He invited us to be more kind. All that was just evidence of love, right? He invited us to love people that were like us and people that were not like us, people that would put us down, people that had harmed us, people that had wounded us. Jesus invited us to love in a very big way. That was really, for me, the focus of his teaching. His second point was don't judge, right? And that was a radical idea. That was a departure from any spiritual teaching up until Jesus. Jesus taught people don't judge. Over and over again, he said, judge not. Judge not lest you be judged, right? So judge not. And as we talked about last week, as we did the little exercise, as we practiced opening our heart, you cannot be in judgment and have an open heart in the same moment. Because the moment you move into judgment, your heart closes. So if we're going to fulfill his first teaching, which was to love the Lord your God with all your mind, your heart, your soul, and to love your neighbors as yourself, you can't be in judgment. Right? So the first thing was love. The second thing was don't judge. And does our mind love to judge? Yes. We love to judge everybody. We love to judge everything. Oh, today wasn't quite right. It was a little too cold, or it was a little too windy, or whatever it is. We just want to judge everything. And Jesus said, just love it. Love it, love it, love it. And then the third thing that he taught over and over again was forgive. When you blow the first 2, forgive and move on. Like when your heart's closed and you want to just judge the heck out of everybody, forgive and move on. Because forgiveness is an act of love. Forgiveness gets us back on the path. Forgiveness restores us and restores relationships and restores everything, right? So we love with an open heart, without judgment. And when we fall, when we make a mistake, when we judge, we forgive and we move on. All right? Are you ready for that? Now, here we go. One more thing I want us to talk about. So, when we have an opinion about someone, how does that impact your heart? Like if you have a high impact or a high opinion of someone, if you see their intelligence or wonderful or kind or loving or special, if you have a high opinion of someone, what happens to your heart? It opens, right? So every time we have a high opinion of anyone, our heart just opens to them. That the moment we have a high opinion, right, which is an intellectual idea, it's a thought. The moment we have a high opinion of anyone, our heart just opens to them. But what happens if we have a low opinion of someone? Like if we see somebody as bad or rotten or nasty or a scoundrel, if we see somebody as worthless or broken or less than, what happens to your heart? It closes, right? It just shuts down. Now, what I want you to see is every bad thing that has happened in the world is because we had a low opinion of the other person. Every major awful thing that has happened in this world is because we had a low opinion of the other. And when we have a low opinion of others, our heart closes and we don't really care how badly we treat them because we see them as worthless. We see them as less than. We see them as unworthy. We see them in a way that is not truly spiritual at all. And so as we're practicing this activity of love, as we're listening to love, I want you to see where you have deemed someone unworthy of your love. unworthy of being blessed, where you have a low opinion of them. Because every time we have a low opinion of someone, it really causes us to shut our heart. And this year, it's all about expanding our heart and really opening our heart so that we get to move beyond our past and really treat each and every person at a level of high respect. I want to read this to you. It's a study. A team of researchers led by Robert Rosenstein went off to an elementary school and administered an intelligence test to all the students. The researchers told the teacher in each classroom which students, let's just say Sam, Sally, and Sarah, the data revealed were academic superstars, high levels of intelligence, the ones with the greatest potential for growth. They asked the teachers not to mention this study to anyone and not to spend any more or less time in instruction to these students. They picked 3 in every classroom. And that they would, in fact, be observing the teachers the remaining of the school year to ensure that they didn't give special attention to these academic superstars, right? And the students were then tested at the end of the year. Indeed, Sam, Sally, and Sarah, which were just average students, right? 3 students in every classroom, tested off the charts for intellectual ability. This would be predictable, except for the 3 students in every classroom did not actually test intellectually gifted. They were found to be absolutely wonderfully ordinary. The researchers randomly picked 3 names, 3 students, and then lied to the teachers about their ability. Now, what does this prove? I love this, right? Because this proves there's a level of genius in all of us. And what it requires to activate that level of genius in all of us is someone who believes in it and actually sees it. Now you say, well, you can't see what's not there, but it's there. It's in all of us. You know, the number one thing that determines whether a child will succeed in school or not is literally just one adult that believes in them. Could be an aunt or an uncle, a parent, could be a foster mom or a foster dad, could be a teacher, could be a neighbor. One adult is all we need to believe in us to activate our best. So when we're moving into this year of love, I want you to look at your role that you have in the world for your family, for your friends, for your neighbor, and your ability to see their greatness. Because to the ability that you can see others' greatness is to the degree that you actually call it out, call it forth in them. That when somebody can see us, when they can really see us, when they can see us more than our story and more than our drama and more than our past, they actually help our soul activate its spiritual potential. But when we see people in a low way, in a diminished way, in a broken way, in a way that undermines them, we actually make it harder for that soul to activate their greatness. And this year, love calls us to activate our greatness. Now, do you remember the first time you fell in love? Was that person the most wonderful person you ever saw? That person is. When we fall in love, we just get all googly eyes, man. It's just like, that's just the sweetest thing ever, right? So when we fall in love, and when we really fall in love, we see the greatness in that person. And our friends and family can go, what are you talking about? That person needs a bath. You know, no, what are you talking about? And yet when we see him, oh, right? We see their greatness. That love calls us to see one another's greatness more than anything else. And it's not naive. It's not immature. It's spiritual wholeness. That's how we restore the planet. We restore the planet by being able to look into one another's eyes and see the glory of God fully present, fully activated, fully alive in each other. And as we call that forth, we actually change their reality. There's another study. 1960, MIT business professor Doug McGuire had a famous post that described there's two theories of human motivation and management. He said, theory X holds that people work because they're paid. And if you don't watch them, they'll stop working. Theory Y says the opposite, that people are intrinsically motivated, that they work harder and better when they're not observed or ordered around, and that if you expect them to do satisfactory or greater work, they will rise to your expectation. When researchers tried to study what happened with X and Y workers are exposed to leaders of the opposite view, so they wanted to find X workers, put them with Y managers. They wanted to find Y workers and put them with X managers. They ran into a very telling snag. Few managers have employees of the opposite theory. So managers who believe that their employees are X, their employees operate as X. And managers that are Y believe that their employees then begin to function from that Y mindset, that they literally couldn't test this premise because the belief of the manager created the experience. That's quantum physics. It is quantum physics that you see what you believe. So over and over again, what I want all of us to practice this week is I want you to begin to see the greatness in everyone. I want you to begin to call it out, especially those people who don't believe it for themselves. Those people who don't believe they're great, that don't believe they're special, that don't believe that they're created in the image and likeness of God. I want you to call it out in them as an act of love, as a way of transforming our planet. I want you to call out the greatness in everyone around you. Now, does that mean that when you begin to call it out, that they'll respond to you? They may not. It may not change a thing, but it's planting a seed. And over that seed will grow. Because they have free will, they get to nurture that seed in any way they choose. But we're going to make sure that another human being, another child of God, sees the seed of greatness within them. From 1 Thessalonians 5:11, it says, therefore encourage one another and build each other up. Can I read that again? Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up. It's in the book. It's in the Bible. You have to do it. Right? You have to do it. Right? In many ways in the Bible, this activity is called to honor. We know one of the 10 Commandments was to honor your father and mother. In 1 Peter, it says that we are called to honor everyone. That if everyone is created in the image and likeness of God, we are called to honor everyone. That it's not okay anymore to see people as broken or less than. It's not okay for us to hold any image of anyone as less than a whole, complete, perfect child of God. From Matthew 7:12, the Lord's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is the law and the basis of all prophets. This is it, right? That love calls us to see each other in our wholeness. Love calls to see each other in the fullness of God that is within us. That we can't move our planet forward. We can't move our relationships forward until we see each other with new eyes. Until we can see each other the way that God sees us. Till we can see each other as whole and complete and lacking in nothing. We are called to honor everyone. Everyone. So what's your homework for this week? Well, I still got my original 5. Don't add conflict. Open your heart. Pick a person of love. Add more love in every situation. Bring that love into the place where we need it the most to heal our greatest wound. And number 6, as of this week, is to see the greatness in all people. I want you to literally see the greatness in all people. Don't try to change your relationships. Don't try to fix a problem until you can see the greatness in that other person. Because the moment you can see the greatness in them, a healing has already started. Will you join with me in prayer? So today we open our minds, our hearts, our soul to the activity of God. That there is only one presence and one power, God the good. And we just know that that activity of prayer, the activity of love, is at work in our life and in the world. So we just listen to love today. So what does love want from us? What does love want to teach us? Where does love want to guide us? How does love want to prosper us? What does love have to say to you today? Today we just listen and trust that the power of love is greater than any need or any situation. And so it is. Amen.